Hare Krishna, welcome to this special program on the systematic study of the topmost revealed scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Before we begin today's session, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayeta Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, I would like to welcome all the viewers again for this special program on the systematic study of the essence of all Vedic knowledge, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which contains a total of 12 cantos, 335 chapters and 18,000 shlokas. Today we are going to begin the study and analysis of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam contains 15 chapters and 750 verses or shlokas. The main content, the main focus of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the history of one of the greatest, one of the most celebrated and one of the purest devotees of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, that is Prahlada Maharaj. And the description of the very unique incarnation of the Supreme Lord, who came specifically with the purpose and objective of giving complete protection to his pure devotee Prahlada. And that special incarnation is Narasimha. So this is the main core content of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, of this narration of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is a very interesting conversation, a dialogue between Yudhisthira Maharaj and Narada Muni. Once in the royal assembly, the great king Yudhisthira Maharaj inquired from Narada. This episode happened just after the performance, the execution of the Rajasuya Yajna performed by Yudhisthira Maharaj, in which the Agra Puja, the first puja, was offered to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna in that great assembly where all the devatas, where all the great sages, all the great personalities of the universe had assembled. It was now to be decided that who would receive the first puja, known as the Agra Puja, the first worship. And at that time, the selected personality was none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. But this decision was staunchly opposed by the demoniac king Shishupala. So when Shishupala opposed this move and also began to hurl many kinds of insults at the Supreme Lord had given a very merciful concession to Shishupala that he would tolerate up to 100 insults continuously from Shishupala. So this was a word given by Krishna to the mother of Shishupala, and now Shishupala, out of intolerable anger, finally exceeded this limit, and when he crossed beyond 100 accusations, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, with his Sudarshana Chakra, he severed the neck of Shishupala and killed him. And at that time, in that great assembly of all the great personalities of the world, of the universe, everyone could directly perceive that the spirit spark, the Atma of Shishupala came, and in the entire assembly, in the view and in the vision of everyone, entered the transcendental divine form of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. This was witnessed by everyone. And now, after this incident, Yudhisthira asked many questions to the great sage Narada about the real position of pure devotional service, and also specifically Yudhisthira inquired that sometimes it appears as though the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, who is always by his fundamental, by his nature, who is said to be impartial to all living entities, seems to be partial to the devatas or the demigods, and seems antagonistic to the demons, especially in the battles between the devatas and the daityas. It is observed sometimes that in such events, the Supreme Lord Krishna, although he is impartial, as stated by the Supreme Lord himself, Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 29, Krishna has declared, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha, that I am equal to all. I am not partial to anyone. I do not favor anyone, nor do I have any kind of an animosity towards anyone. So that is the complete neutral aspect of the Supreme Lord. So he is neither partial or favorable to the devatas, nor is he antagonistic to the daityas, the asuras, or the demons. It is in this material world, there are the three modes of material nature, the three gunas, and whenever there is a predominance of sattva guna according to the dictates, according to the control of kala, at that time the devatas who are situated in sattva guna are more dominant, whereas when there is prevalence of tamoguna, at that time the daityas are more dominant. So the Supreme Lord does not take any kind of a personal interest either to promote the devatas or to demote the demons. He is completely impartial. And to illustrate this point, the great sage Narada begins to narrate the wonderful history of the Supreme Lord in his very special incarnation, and of the great devotee, one of the most celebrated devotees in the history of the world, that of Prahlada. So, long back, we have also heard about the history of the brother of Hiranyakashipu. So there are actually two brothers. Both are the sons of Kashyapa and Diti. So Kashyapa and Diti have these two sons by name, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. In the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the history of Hiranyaksha being killed by the Supreme Lord in his incarnation as Varaha. And now here in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the history of Hiranyakashipu. I had also explained the literal meaning of Hiranyakashipu means Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means soft bed. So it indicates a person who is the symbol of lust and greed. Hiranya refers to gold, which means someone who is only absorbed in material greed to acquire more and more gold and wealth and material possessions. And Kashipu refers to soft bedding to enjoy with women. So therefore, Hiranyakashipu is the great symbol of lust and greed. So Hiranyakashipu, after the death of Hiranyaksha, he pacified all the family members. In fact, even Hiranyakashipu, he had some spiritual knowledge and he gave very important spiritual instructions about the real nature of the Atma, the soul, to his family members, to his sister-in-law, the wife of Hiranyaksha, and to the sons of Hiranyaksha. And after pacifying them, now Hiranyakashipu took a firm decision to teach a lesson to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu thought that normally the Supreme Lord Vishnu is impartial, but in this case he had taken the side of the Devatas and unlawfully defeated and killed his dear brother Hiranyaksha. So now Hiranyakashipu made a very firm determination to acquire a lot of power, and his main intention and plan was to become immortal. So Hiranyakashipu went to the Mahendra Parvata and there engaged in a most severe form of penance and austerity by standing on one leg on the tips of his toes and with raised arms, and for a very long period of time he engaged in tapasya, in penance. Towards his penance was directed to please Lord Brahma. So as his penance progressed, there was a very intolerable heat that was generated from Hiranyakashipu that disturbed all the three worlds and especially the Devatas of the heavenly planets, who all went and appealed to Lord Brahma to mitigate the fire and heat emanating from Hiranyakashipu and fulfill whatever desire or objectives with which Hiranyakashipu was performing the austerities. So now Lord Brahma decided to give an audience to Hiranyakashipu. He came on his Hamsa Vahana, on the swan carrier, and appeared to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu had been almost reduced to a skeleton. His pranavayu, his life air, was now flowing only his asthi, in his bones. But still he had the firm determination to maintain his life in the bones, in his asthi. So Lord Brahma first took some water in his palm from his kamandalu and sprinkled that water on Hiranyakashipu, by which he regained a very youthful and a very strong body. And now Lord Brahma asked Hiranyakashipu that what do you want? So this is usually the transaction between the asuras when they perform any austerities. The devatas also very well know that the only objective is that they have some selfish motive, some selfish desire that they want to fulfill. So Lord Brahma asked Hiranyakashipu, what do you want? And Hiranyakashipu asked that I want to become immortal. So I want to become deathless. I want to have an eternal existence without death. So Lord Brahma replied by saying that I can give you something that I possess. So whereas when I myself do not have immortality, when I myself am not immortal, how can I give you immortality which even I do not possess? So Lord Brahma, although having a very, very long lifespan of trillions of years, yet even Lord Brahma has to die one day. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8.15, Abrahma bhuvana lokat punar avartino jana. In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Lord Krishna has stated that Abrahma bhuvana lokat punar avartino jana. From and up to Lord Brahma, everyone in this material world is subject to birth and death. So Lord Brahma expressed his inability to grant something which he did not have. Just like if I have 500 rupees and if someone asks me, it is in my capacity and ability to give up to 500 rupees. But if someone asks me 1,00,000 of rupees when I just have 500 in my pocket, it is not possible because I do not have it. So likewise, Lord Brahma, when he stated that he would not be able to grant him immortality, then Hiranyakashipu, who was also very smart and intelligent, then asked Lord Brahma for a boon, for a benediction, that he should not be killed either in the day or in the night. He should not be killed indoors or outdoors. He should not be killed either by any human being or by any other living creature. He should not be killed on the ground nor in the sky. So Hiranyakashipu laid down many a list of conditions that he should not die like this, nor like that, nor like this, nor like that, thinking that he had exhausted all the various options which may be the cause of death. And by taking a benediction by which he would exclude all the causes of death, he indirectly thought that now he would gain immortality. So Lord Brahma immediately he responded by saying, Tathastu, may it be so. And Hiranyakashipu also asked for the absolute sovereignty to rule over the entire universe, and also for all the Ashta Siddhis. There are 8 kind of mystic perfections beginning with Anima, Laghima, so all these Siddhis were asked by Hiranyakashipu. So Lord Brahma granted all these boons and benedictions to Hiranyakashipu and disappeared. Now Hiranyakashipu obtained all these boons and came back to his kingdom. The demoniac Hiranyakashipu now became puffed up with a lot of pride, with great pride. He now began to terrorize the entire universe. So the 4th chapter of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam explains the terror unleashed by Hiranyakashipu all across the universe. All the living beings, all the devatas, everyone were harassed. and subdued by Hiranyakashipu, and very soon Hiranyakashipu became the sovereign ruler of the entire world, of the entire universe. Everyone came under his control except for Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. So Hiranyakashipu now began to rule with great impunity. He took up the charge of all the 33 crore devatas who are in charge of the various departmental affairs of the universe. All their activities and duties were performed single-handedly by the powerful Hiranyakashipu. So as time passed, Hiranyakashipu and his wife, whose name is Kayadhu and Hiranyakashipu, they had 5 children, 4 sons and 1 daughter. So the 4 sons of Hiranyakashipu are Prahlada, Anuhlada, Samhlada and Hlada, and 1 daughter by name Simhika. So in this way, Hiranyakashipu, he had 5 children, and after some time he sent his children to the Gurukul, to the school of the Guru of the demons, that is Shukracharya. Shukracharya had 2 sons by name Shanda and Amarka. Shanda and Amarka now became the teachers of Prahlada. So Prahlada is the great pure Mahabhagavata, the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. It is very, very elaborately explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam about his most exalted divine and devotional qualities. It is explained that Prahlada was always completely absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Lord Krishna, so much so that Krishna graha grihitatma naveda jagadidrisham. He could not understand the materialistic ways of this world, of the living beings who were absorbed in the activities of sense gratification, because Prahlada was always eclipsed by the most powerful influence of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. It is also explained that he was always merged in the loving devotional ecstasy of the various features of the Ashta Sattvika Vikara that are exhibited in the advanced stage of pure love of Godhead in Krishna Prema. So this most great, this most celebrated devotee of the Supreme Lord, Prahlada, now he was studying in the Gurukul of Shukracharya under the tutelage of the sons of Shukracharya, that is Shanda and Amarka. And after some time, Prahlada returned from his Gurukul and came back to the palace. And when Prahlada returned to the palace, Hiranyakashipu was very joyful, was very happy to see his beloved son Prahlada. He embraced him, he smelt his forehead out of great affection and placed him on his lap, and very lovingly and affectionately inquired from Prahlada that what is the best thing that you have learned at your school, at your Gurukul. So this is a very a common kind of a dealing between affectionate father and his child, that when the child comes back from the school, the parents very eagerly and lovingly inquire that what did you learn at school, what is the best thing that you have learned. So likewise, Hiranyakashipu seated Prahlada on his lap and very lovingly inquired, what is the best thing that you have learned at school? And now the reply given by Prahlada would be like a great shock to Hiranyakashipu. In 7.5.5 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlada says, Shri Prahlada Uvacha Tat sadhu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyama sagrahat hitvatmapatam grihamandhakupam vanam gato yed harimashrayeta. Prahlada says, replies that Tat sadhu manye, the best thing that I have learned in my education, in all of my education, is that Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam, O best of the asuras, Asuravarya, that Dehinam Sada Samudvigna Dhyam Asadgrahat, because of falsely accepting the body, the material body, as one's self. All living entities in this material world are always in great anxiety and fear. Sada samudvigna dhyam. All the living entities in this world are therefore in great fear and anxiety and are always disturbed by material nature. And what should be the solution for that? This is also hitva. Therefore, the solution is that Prahlada says that hitvatmapatam grihamandhakupam. Therefore, at the appropriate time, and he is actually indicating to his own father Hiranyakashipu that what you should be doing, you should, and in fact everyone at the age of 50 must do this very, very important action. What is that? Hitva atmapatam grihamandhakupam. One should give up the householder life, which is compared here to a dark, deep well. Just like if a person falls into a dark, deep well, it will be a very, very dangerous situation, and it is very difficult for such a person to come out of that situation. So, therefore, Prahlada says that one must come out of this well of householder life, and vanam gato, one should go to the forest. Specifically, one should go to Vrindavana. All the acharyas have explained in their commentaries that vanam in this verse actually refers to Vrindavana, the most sacred abode of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Vanam gato yad harimashrayeta. One should go to Vrindavana and take complete shelter of the Supreme Lord Shri Hari, Shri Krishna. So now, when Hiranyakashipu heard this reply, he was astonished that this small child is asking me to leave all my great position that I have acquired after so much penance and go to the forest and take shelter of my sworn enemy, Hari or Lord Vishnu. So anyway, Hiranyakashipu thought that this is the way that the intelligence, the mind of small children gets spoiled due to bad company. Normally when children learn something, any bad habits, parents surmise, they think that this is due to some bad associates, bad friends. So bad company may have spoiled our child, and likewise Hiranyakashipu thought that because Prahlada was speaking about Hari Bhakti, devotional service to Lord Hari. This was the parameter for a demon like Hiranyakashipu to think that this is spoiled intelligence, and he thought that maybe some devotees, some Vaishnavas would have come in disguise and made a conspiracy, made a master plan to come and spoil the intelligence of my son Prahlada, who is going to be my successor. So now Hiranyakashipu called for his teachers, the teachers of Prahlada, and told him to take care of Prahlada so that the Vaishnavas, the devotees of Lord Vishnu, may not come there and spoil the intelligence and mind of Prahlada with these kind of instructions. So Prahlada again returned back to the Gurukul and spent some time there, but Prahlada was least interested in all the materialistic topics that were taught at the Gurukul. He would always be absorbed in the devotional consciousness to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Some time passed, and then Prahlada again returned back to his palace, and again this time Hiranyakashipu with great affection raised Prahlada on his lap and inquired similarly, "My dear Prahlada, what is the best thing that you have learned at your school?" So in reply, Prahlada, this is again recorded in 7.5.23 and 24. This is one of the most important instructions of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Prahlada mentions the 9 processes of devotional service known since then worldwide all over the universe as the Navavidha Bhakti, the 9 processes of devotional service. So Prahlada says, Shri Prahlada Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischain Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavatyadha Tanmanye Adhitam Uttamam. That Adhitam Uttamam, the best thing that I have learnt in all of my education is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu. The complete surrender of the Jivatma, of the living entity, unto the Supreme Lord Vishnu by the connecting processes of devotional service, which are 9 in number, which are Bhaktischain Navalakshana, which are the 9 processes of devotional service, beginning from Shravanam, means to hear about the Supreme Lord. Kirtanam, the second process, refers to the chanting of the glories of the holy name. The third is Smaranam, or constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam. The fourth is Padasevanam, to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And the fifth is Archanam. Archanam means the process of worshipping the Supreme Lord by deity worship. The sixth is Vandanam, to offer prayers, heartfelt prayers to the Supreme Lord. And the seventh is Dasyam, to become the servant of the Supreme Lord. The eighth process is Sakhyam, to accept the Supreme Lord Krishna to be one's best friend and the best well-wisher. And the ninth process is Atmanivedanam, or complete surrender to the Supreme Lord. So Prahlada now stated that these 9 processes of devotional service to the Supreme Lord Vishnu is the highest form of education, is the best thing. Now when Hiranyakashipu heard this, he thought that Prahlada is almost like a dog's tail. How much ever you try to straighten a dog's tail which is curved, it again becomes curved. So what kind of education are the teachers giving? He again called for the teachers Shanda and Amarka and severely chastised them and tried to give some punishment. But the teachers, the Shanda and Amarka, expressed that actually we have not committed any fault. We are not at fault. We have not given any teaching of Hari Bhakti, or we have not taught anything about God or God consciousness to Prahlada. We are also confused. We do not know from where this child Prahlada is learning all these bad things. So for the demons, Hari Bhakti was supposedly a bad thing. So then Hiranyakashipu asked very, very harshly to Prahlada, where have you learned all these things? And again in reply, every word, every statement made by Prahlada throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam is a golden ultimate statement which shows the highest standard, the highest level of pure bhakti, of pure devotional service. So again Prahlada replied, and this is recorded in 7.5.30 of the Bhagavatam as Shri Prahlada Uvacha Matirna Krishne Paratasvato Va Mitho Bhipadyeta Grihavratanam Adantagobhir Vishatam Tamisram Punah Punashcharvita Charvananam. Prahlada says that Matir na Krishne, Krishne Matihi is the exact Sanskrit word for Krishna consciousness. So Krishne Matihi, this Krishna consciousness is not something that you can learn either by oneself or by the teaching of anybody else, or by making great meetings or assemblies. That is, bhakti cannot be learned by one's own endeavor or by the instruction of others, nor by a combined effort of many people. Especially for a person who is Adanta Gobihi, who has unrestricted senses. Vishatam Tamisram, and they are just entering the darkest regions of hell, and their only gain is Punah Punashcharvita Charvananam. They are simply repeatedly chewing the chewed. Just like if you take a sugar cane and you chew the entire juice out of the sugar cane juice and throw it, if someone again comes and takes that chewed sugarcane fiber which is bereft, which is devoid of any rasa, any juice, and again tries to chew in it and again throws it, and a third person, fourth person, all the people of this world take that chewed and again try to chew, there is no point. It is a completely insane, it's a crazy proposal, a crazy proposition. But that is exactly what all of us are engaged in this material world. We are again and again chewing the same chewed, that is, we are again and again engaging in the same activities of sense gratification of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. There is actually no real Chinmaya Rasa, any kind of spiritual happiness which can satisfy the spirit soul. It is completely zero in any of these material activities. So therefore Prahlada says that there is no point for a material in a materialistic person coming to the stage of Krishna consciousness. because he further explains in 7.5.31 that Nate viduhu swarthagatim hi Vishnuhu durashayaye bahiragthamaninaha andhayathandher upaniyamanas tepi shatantrya murudam nibaddhaha. Persons who are completely entrapped by the consciousness of bahiragthamaninaha, of enjoying material life, they usually accept other leaders who are similarly blind. So it is just like andha yathandher upaniyamanaha. A blind man should take the help and assistance of a person with vision in order to advance. But if a blind man chooses to follow another blind man and accepts a blind person as one's leader, both are going to fall in a ditch, and both are going to have a very, very bad final result. So Prahlada says that for those who have uncontrolled senses, they cannot understand, they cannot comprehend that the highest, the ultimate benefit of all Jivatmas is actually complete surrender to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Nate viduhu swarthagatim hi Vishnuhu. We are unaware that our ultimate benefit is in surrendering to the Supreme Lord Vishnu, because we are diverted, because we have been misled to think, to have the conviction that material pleasures would give us happiness. So finally, this is not the way to attain Krishna consciousness, is very clearly explained by Prahlada. Then what is the way? How should one get Krishna consciousness the way Prahlada has attained it? So that is now revealed by Prahlada himself in 7.5.32 as Naishamatistavadurukramangrim sprishatyanagthapagamo yadagthaha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam navrinita yavat. One cannot come to Krishna consciousness unless one is blessed by the mercy of another pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. So Prahlada says that I have not gained this Krishna consciousness or Krishne Mati by these teachers or by my own effort. It is only by the mercy of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. But Prahlada here does not reveal yet as to who is that pure devotee by whose mercy Prahlada had come to such pure Krishna consciousness. So, hearing these words, Hiranyakashipu now became very, very angry, and Hiranyakashipu lost all his compassion, all his mercy because of his selfishness. He thought that this child is going to be my biggest enemy because he has taken the side of his enemy, that is Lord Vishnu. And therefore Hiranyakashipu now took the cruel decision to kill his innocent son Prahlada. So he tried to attack Prahlada with strong and sharp weapons, but he was unable to kill Prahlada. He then tried to trample Prahlada under the feet of strong elephants, but still he could not kill Prahlada. He had Prahlada tossed from the mountain tops. He administered poison to him. He tried hundreds and thousands of methods to kill Prahlada, but every time Prahlada was protected by the Supreme Lord. Hiranyakashipu, who was the supreme ruler of the entire universe, the most powerful personality, it is said that Kruddhasya yasya kampante trayo loka saheshwaraha. When Hiranyakashipu would raise his eyebrows, all the devatas in the heaven would shudder, would tremble in great fear of Hiranyakashipu. But here a small 5-year-old child, his son, completely defied, and he was completely, the greatest thing that was unacceptable to Hiranyakashipu was that Prahlada was not even the least afraid of the chastisement of Hiranyakashipu, and although he tried all the means, he could not harm, he could not kill Prahlada by any manner. So finally, the teachers Shanda and Amarka appealed to Hiranyakashipu to stop his methods of trying to punish Prahlada. They told him that don't worry, very shortly our Guru, our father Shukracharya is going to come back to the ashram, and he will properly instruct and mold Prahlada. So meanwhile, we will take him back to the Gurukul. So now Prahlada was again taken back to the Gurukul of Shanda and Amarka, and they again tried all methods of Sama, Bheda, Danda, everything they tried. They tried to severely punish Prahlada, but whatever they did, they were not able to change the firm, fixed devotional consciousness of Prahlada. This is called Dhrida Bhakti. In the beginning of devotional service, we have Komala Bhakti, very tender devotional service. If someone says something, we can easily get diverted. Whereas a staunch devotee like Prahlada, who is come to the stage of Dhrida Bhakti, can never be shaken from the path of devotional service by any means whatsoever. So Prahlada now is again in the Gurukul of Shanda and Amarka, and sometimes when the teachers would go out on recess, would go out and there would be a short break. During that break time, Prahlada would take the opportunity and call all his friends, who were all the sons of the various demoniac leaders. So he gathered all of them and gave them the very important teachings and valuable instructions of devotional service. Prahlada's teachings to his classmates, to his friends, are very beautifully recorded in the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 6th chapter of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the first verse, actually, when Prahlada began to instruct his friends, who were the sons of various demoniac leaders, they all were very surprised, and they said that we are all the children of demons, and why should we learn all these topics about Hari Bhakti, about devotional service to the Supreme Lord, and this is also not the right age to learn about spiritual life. We are just small children, we should just be playing now, and maybe when we become old, at that time we may consider anything about devotional service, about spiritual life. So this is the normal perspective of the majority of the people of this world, that they think that they tend to postpone spiritual life and spiritual activities to the last fag end of one's life. So this is completely wrong. And in the first instruction given by Prahlada in 7.6.1, Prahlada very beautifully states that Shri Prahlada Vacha Kaumara Acharet Pragnyo Dharman Bhagavataniha Duglabham Manusham Janma Tadapyat Arthadamadhruvam. Prahlada says that actually one should begin the Bhagavata Dharma, the culture of Bhagavata Dharma, of devotional service, from Kaumara, from the age of 5. And then Prahlada says that actually in the human form of life, one should not waste even a moment in the frivolous activities of material enjoyment and waste the valuable opportunity of the human form of life. One should completely dedicate oneself to the culture and advancement on the path of spiritual life. Whereas when some people explain or say that although that we have a lot of time left and maybe in our old age we shall consider spiritual life, Prahlada gives a very nice analysis of our entire lifetime. The typical lifetime of all of us is very nicely explained by Prahlada, that in 7.6.66 Prahlada says that Pumso Varshashatam Hyayus Tadagtham Chajitatmanaha Nishphalam Yad Asau Ratriam Shetendham Prapitashtamaha. That every human being has a maximum duration of life of 100 years, and for one who cannot control his senses, 50%, half of the life is lost in sleep. So in this way, out of 100 years, 50%, that is 50 years, are lost in sleep, in night. Likewise, Mugdhasya balye kaishore kridato yati vimshatihi jaraya grastadehasya yatyakalpasya vimshatihi. In the tender age of childhood, when everyone is bewildered, one passes 10 years. Again in boyhood, the age of 11 to 20, people are engaged in sporting and playing, and in this way one passes another 10 years. In this way 20 years are wasted, the first 20 years of the life, and the last 20 years of life from the age of 80 to 100, one becomes practically an invalid, unable to perform even normal material activities. Even to go to the toilet one has to take so much of difficulty. So one's last 20 years are also passed wastefully. So in this way 40 years are gone, in which 20 years have been accounted already for sleep. So in this way 50 plus 20, 70 years are gone wasted. Dura purena kamena mohena cha baliyasa shesham griheshu saktasya pramattasya payatihi. And for a materialistic person, what now remains is 30 years, and in 30 years we have our job, our livelihood, our endeavors to earn money, wealth, possessions, to get a car, to register a house, to build a house, and to get married, to have a beautiful wife, to have children, to take care of the family, to take care of the children. So just 30 years are left, and that is lost in these activities. So where is the time? Where is the time remaining for the most important, valuable opportunity of the human form of life, to engage in spiritual activities in order to attain liberation or moksha from the material existence? So in this way Prahlada gave many important and valuable instructions to his friends, and the influence of Prahlada was so powerful that all the friends of Prahlada also got converted to become Vaishnavas or pure devotees of Lord Vishnu. But they had one question, one query to Prahlada, that Prahlada, you also have been studying like all of us are coming to the Gurukul. Where and when did you learn all these things? And at that time Prahlada reveals the secret how he gained this devotional consciousness. So Prahlada explains that actually when his father Hiranyakashipu had gone to perform austerities and his mother Kayadhu was pregnant and was carrying Prahlada in the womb, at that time all the devatas were very disturbed by the activities of Hiranyakashipu, became even more fearful, they became even more alarmed to know that Kayadhu was carrying a child of Hiranyakashipu. All the devatas were greatly concerned that we are not able to deal with one Hiranyakashipu, and definitely his son would be another junior Hiranyakashipu. So if 1 plus 1, 2 or 11, they become like that, it will be so much more difficult to deal with Hiranyakashipu and his son. So therefore the devatas came to the place of where Kayadhu was there, and they wanted to imprison, they wanted to take away Kayadhu with them, so that as soon as Kayadhu would give birth to the child, the plan of the devatas was to kill the son of Hiranyakashipu. So when the devatas caught hold of Kayadhu and were taking her away in that condition when she was carrying the child in the womb, they were stopped by the great sage, the greatest spiritual master of this universe, Narada Muni. Narada came and stopped Indra, who was leading the party of the devatas, and told him, what a shameful act are you engaged in? Why are you taking her, and why have you imprisoned her? So Indra explained the whole situation, and Narada actually revealed that the child in Kayadhu's womb would not be a demon, but would in fact be a great Mahabhagavata, a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And as soon as the devatas heard that, even they they immediately freed Kayadhu. They offered obeisances and did a circumambulation parikrama of Kayadhu, because in her womb was Mahabhagavata, a great pure devotee of Lord Vishnu, and they all returned back to the Swargaloka, to the heavenly planets. And now Kayadhu was given protection by the great sage Narada in his ashrama. So while Kayadhu was living in the ashrama of Narada Muni, at that time Narada, the great pure devotee who is always who is always anxious to deliver the highest benefit to all the living entities by giving them the supreme gift, the supreme knowledge of pure devotional service. When Kayadhu was staying in his ashrama, he was preaching and he was giving many instructions and teachings about pure devotional service to her. Kayadhu also heard these instructions from Narada, but because she was in great anxiety about her child, about her husband, she did not register these teachings so attentively, whereas all these teachings were completely grasped and taken, completely internalized by the child in the womb of Kayadhu, that is Prahlada. So Prahlada heard and learned everything about devotional service even before he took birth in the womb of his mother from the great sage Narada Muni. So in this way, Prahlada explained that he had learned everything by the mercy of the great sage Narada. And then all the classmates, the sons of the various demoniac leaders, everyone became devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And then Prahlada started a great Sankirtana movement. He started a great Sankirtana of chanting the holy names of the Lord, and everyone was absorbed in the devotional ecstasy, and the entire class, all his friends began to dance in great ecstasy, chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hari, Narayana. And when the teachers, the gurus, Shanda and Amarka came back, they were shocked to see Hari Kirtana going on in full swing in the Gurukul. So they were completely bewildered now, and they came and hastily stopped the Hari Kirtana, the festival of the singing and dancing, chanting the holy names of Lord Hari. And now they thought that we had brought Prahlada to change his mind, but this Prahlada is such that he has changed. We were unable to change his mind, but Prahlada has changed the minds of all the other students. So if he continues here, who knows, he may change even our mind also. He has got the capacity to change the mind of the entire world, of all the living entities. Prahlada may turn everyone in this world into Vaishnavas. So now the gurus Shanda and Amarka became very scared and afraid that what may happen now if Hiranyakashipu comes to know of the situation. So again they caught Prahlada and brought him back in the presence of Hiranyakashipu and explained the whole situation, that this son of yours, he cannot be changed. In fact, he has converted all the other students into devotees of Krishna. So we give up. Now you handle yourself. So now Hiranyakashipu, what he will do, what is he going to do with Prahlada, and what events are going to unfold, we shall hear in the next session. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do post on the WhatsApp group or in the comments box. Please do like this video and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please do join us for the next session on the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.